Next, we have switches. Switches are multi-port connectivity devices that improve network efficiency. So again, floating up from the bottom here, we have a device, a Cisco device. It looks very much or very similar to a router, at first glance, although it provides different functionality. And this one here happens to be a 48-port switch. And switches are based upon MAC addresses. All right, they maintain a table of MAC addresses, and they only send communication out of the necessary port. All right, so if you are familiar with the concept of hubs, multi-port repeaters, switches, and so on and so forth, you understand that a hub, if information comes in on one port, it sends it back out all ports. So everybody attached to a hub sees all the traffic going back and forth to everything connected to that hub. It only responds to things addressed to itself, but it still sees it. Okay, so that's a security risk, because if someone's sniffing the network, they can sniff any bit of traffic from any device attached to that hub. Switches negate that to a certain degree, because as devices connect up to the switch and they plug into those various ports, as soon as a communication occurs, that switch port understands or recognizes the MAC address that is sent along with the packet, and then it records that MAC address, and it very quickly will build a table of what's connected to what port. And then over time, that information is used to then switch traffic between ports. All right, so if information comes in on port 1 and it's destined for a computer on port 47, it knows by the MAC address, hey, I'm only going to send that out of port 47. So in that regard, it makes it much more secure. And again, switches are used on internal networks. They don't provide routing functionality, so you won't see switches, actually connecting things out on the internet. Internal networks, of course, will use the switches, but they're not designed to route traffic or connect traffic between two disparate networks. All right, so the exception to that are, and I should caveat that and say the exception is layer 3 switches. They can provide routing functionality internally, all right, but they're still not going to route traffic out on the internet. All right, so just to avoid confusion, understand that switches are used for internal purposes. However, they can provide internal routing capabilities if in fact it's a layer 3 switch.